Hey guys, so I'm here with another video. We're going to talk about the books that I read in July. So here's a July reading wrap up for you guys. And by the way, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? What exactly are you doing? Subscribe to my channel. So for the month of July, I read 16 books, which, it's not far from my usual, but I was kind of in a book slump this month. I did want to kind of relax a bit and not read too many books. As you guys know, I read on my Kindle, predominantly on my Kindle, and I do read physical books. I do love me a physical books. So even though I have a Kindle, reading my physical books is still going to be a thing for me. It always has been and it always will be. But I must admit, I do read a lot more on my Kindle. I think it's only one that I actually read that was a physical book, and that was a reread because I actually had the book. And that's it. So let's get into all the books I read in the month of July. So the first book I read in the month of July is a continuation of a dark romance series. It's called An Ear for Silas, and it's book 2 of The Dark Life of Silas by Tori Sullivan. Oh my God. After reading book 1, which is A Wife for Silas, I was baffled, befungled, flabbergasted, everything you can think of, just shocked by the ending of that book. And I really enjoyed the book. I gave it a 4 out of 5, so I had to continue to the second book. And then reading the second book, oh my God, let me tell you something. I was stunned at the fact that I enjoyed this book so much. Did it have issues? Absolutely. Did it need a third book? Absolutely. But was it fun? Hell yes. I enjoyed the hell out of this book. So this book is about Silas. He is a billionaire, son of a billionaire, of billionaires too, and he has this little mental problem called psychopath. So he was a psychopath, and he did things to people and women for fun. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what he did, but some of it entails smorcher, right? And grape and all of that. Not so sane behavior, but psychotic behavior. And he wanted an heir because he was done with dating. Because he could not show emotions like a normal person could. He could mimic it, but it just didn't quite reach his eyes. So he wanted to find someone to give him a baby so he can leave all his money and all his good deeds on the surface to someone deserving. And he came across this woman, and he liked this woman. And Silas, good old Silas, decided to stalk this woman, infiltrate her life, manipulate the hell out of her and everyone around her so he could meet her, start dating her, so he could impregnate her. And it went on, and some people were smorchered, and Silas does not understand right from wrong. Actually, he does. He just doesn't give a shit. And I'm gonna say, right, I really enjoyed the book. I don't want to give too much away, but that's pretty much a synopsis of the book. And even though the ending for the book was good, I felt like we needed a third book just for us to, okay, this is what happened. They have decided this one thing. Can we now move on to see what exactly happens in their life, and, seeing the kid grow up and all these different things and stuff. And so I wanted to see that, right? But unfortunately, there is no third book, which is kind of sad. Not kind of, it's a whole lot sad, but I enjoyed the book. I gave it a 4, and I wish there was a third book. So yeah, let's move on. So I was reading a lot of dark romance books and everything like that. So once I read An Ear for Silas, I fell into a book slump really quickly. And I decided, you know what? I am in the mood for some rejected mates. And I decided to look for some rejected mate tropes. And I found some. So the first one I decided to read, Rejected to Pregnant by the Alpha King by Ada Knight. Okay, so for this one, oh my God. She was in love with the alpha of her pack. When she turned 18, yeah, when she turned 18 and her wolf came out. Is that how it go? I'm trying to remember how it go, right? So I remember like when she turned 18 and her wolf came out, and she and the alpha realized that the woman he was dating isn't his fated mate. She is. All hell broke loose. All hell broke loose. He rejected her, he beat her up, and he kicked her out of their pack and pretty much tossed her to the rogues. Now, she was found by another alpha, which was the Alpha King. And it so happened to be that he is her second chance mate. And they decided to, do the nasty. And it kind of went to hell from there. It was bad. It was so bad. First of all, let's go back. Let's rewind it back. In her pack, she was practically a maid. She was practically a maid, and she did what they wanted, and she was abused constantly, and they treated her like shit. You hear me? Ugh. Ugh. So her first mate rejected her, and he chose the woman he was dating for however long because he was in love with her. No problem, right? She now has her second chance mate. She went with the she went with the second chance mate, and unfortunately she was not supposed to go with him. He was supposed to clear things up first before she could come with him. She stowed on his in the back of his truck, and it went down from there. Hell broke loose from there, and she was in danger. They were in danger. She was in danger. The Alpha King was in danger. It was just an entire mess, and it was really, really good. And I enjoyed it. The storyline was good. I'm not, a couple things could have been better, but overall, it was a good storyline, and it was a cutesy read, and I gave it a 3. Do I recommend? Yes, it was fun. So the next book I read, Secret Baby for the Alpha King by Via Thorne. Do I remember most of this book? I do not. I do not remember most of this book. I do remember that they found out they were fated mates. They slept together. They spent one night together, and then he rejected her because he was going to marry another woman. Since she found that out, she ran, but she was already pregnant. She kept her baby. And then years later, he came back into her life, wanting her back, begging and groveling and all that pizzazz. This was not so much a fun read for me. It was not good. It was actually very weird and confusing, and it had a lot of potholes. And me, I'm a sucker for it. Like, I am easily entertained, right? Some books some people may not like, I would be like, oh, this is cute. Okay. I read for the vibes, right? And I rate based on vibes. So if I tell you a book was not good, believe me, the book was not good. You should give it a try, give it a read, and tell me what you think. But it didn't do it for me, and I was like, no, next, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this is Stolen by J. Marie. I had a good time reading this book. I was very surprised that I actually liked it that much. Why? Because it did have a lot of triggers. It had non-con, it had kidnapping, it had physical violence, it had a lot of things. So read your trigger warnings before you even attempt to read this book. Please, please don't go read this book and say, oh, you did not tell me about a trigger warning. Read the trigger warning. Please don't make me get loud up in here. Read the trigger warning. Yes, so this book is about our FMC. She is a black belt, and she was kidnapped, unfortunately. And she did not expect that, obviously, because she's a black belt. Like, how are you kidnapping me and I'm a black belt? But she was not. She was alone. There was quite a few guys there. She was placed into sex trafficking business where she stayed in a cage and unfortunately got the attention of the owner, which is a ruthless sex trafficker. He's a businessman. You know, they like to call themselves businessman. And he having his attention was not the best thing for her. And he really loved her spirit, the fact that she didn't bow down and she fought and she tried her best, I should say, to fight. She actually fought with him a couple times and he enjoyed it because, you know, he was just so surprised. She's so small. Obviously, he could have crushed the hell out of her, but he loved the fact that she had such deep spirit. And it kind of went downhill from there. A lot of these books are, there is some kind of trauma involved. And I do like the trauma. You know, I need to be stabbed in the heart, in the chest, in the back a couple times. So I saw it on TikTok and I was like, oh, this sounds good. Trigger warnings, be damned. I'm going to go read it. And I went into it blind and I really enjoyed the storyline. I gave it a 3, I think. Yeah, I gave it a 3. Do I recommend? Yes. If you like those kind of books. As I said, non-con. Non-con is in this book. So if you can't do a non-con, don't get it. Just don't get it. I did not read the second, third, or fourth book. I think it's like 4 books in this series. I haven't read them yet, but I will. You know, you guys know I am a series starter. Am I going to finish the series? Probably anytime soon. I don't know. But yeah, series starter. Serial series starter. Yes. So next book, this one is Alpha King Secret Baby, Forbidden Alpha King series by K.A. Iris. This is another rejected mates book. So she is the king's Omega. She was a part of a pack already, the king's pack, and she went to a ball that the king was hosting, and this alpha, she realized this, she bumped into this guy. It was another alpha, and when he touched her, they realized that they were fated mates. Nobody touches the king's Omega. So that in itself caused a ruckus in the ballroom. And then when she realized, okay, they're fated mates and everything like that, she went to her room. He snuck into her room. They spent a hot, steamy night together. And then he rejected her the next morning because he hated the king. And he thought she was sleeping with the king. And it, once again, went downhill from there. Yeah. Listen. I did not like him one bit because he was a freaking idiot. He was an idiot throughout this whole goddamn book. And she was so sweet and loving. And I really enjoyed her character and I disliked him so bad. Like, I find that a lot of these books, just books in general, not just one particular trope, it's either you like the female lead or you don't like the female lead. You like the male lead or you don't like the male lead. It's hardly ever that you like both of them together. So it's like, you know, you either like the woman or you like the man. You either like the man or you like the woman. But it's never, oh, I like both main characters. It's hardly ever. Let me not say never, hardly ever. And I'm really starting to dislike that. Some of these male leads are insufferable. They're absolute idiots. And some of the female leads, same thing. So it's so hard to find a book where you like everyone. Like, the villain is the villain. The hero is the hero. And I am all for a morally gray character, but all these books say morally gray characters, and a lot of them are not morally gray. People, they just do one or two stupid shit, and it's like, oh, he's morally gray. No, he's an idiot. He's not morally gray. And some of them say he's morally gray, and this man out here killing people's mother and father. Ma'am, he's not morally gray. He is black. He is black. Through and through. Morally gray? Morally black. Don't get me started. You see how I'm already hyped? Don't get me started. Anyways, he rejected her the morning after I went on a rampage. I am so sorry. He rejected her the morning after, and yeah, downhill from there, as I said. And she left. She ran because she was pregnant. She found out she was pregnant. She ran, and he chased after her. He chased after her with the blessing of the king, to bring her back, to take her to his territory because, you know, she's pregnant. She's his fated mate and all that pizzazz. He wanted to hide the fact that she was his fated mate. and the king decided that he's gonna kill him because he lied to him, and it spiraled into a ton of different storylines, and I don't know if I liked it enough to like continue reading the storylines. I don't know. um I don't even know if there's a book two in for that, because it's actual series of rejected mates, right? So I don't know if there's a book two for that, but I liked it overall, but I don't know if I would actually recommend the book to people. So it's I'm just like kind of, yeah. But I did give it a 3 because it was a good read. Okay, so this is The Blackened Blade by Isla Davon. So this story is about a girl who was in prison. She was constantly taken out of her cell multiple times throughout the week in order to fight and pretty much build up her stamina. They used that information to test her and to see what powers she had and what they could do, and just pretty much information from her overall, blood samples and all these different things. And throughout that, unfortunately, she ended up being burned alive in the prison with other inmates. She somehow came back to life a couple years into the past. I think about 5, 7, maybe between 5 to 7 years. I can't quite remember the exact date. And the story picks up from there. This is a reverse harem white shoes book. This is the first book in this series. I did enjoy this book. I gave it a 3. I'm not gonna give you guys a lot of the information from this. Why? Because it's very, very, very easy to spoil this book, and I don't want to do that. I do want you to go in knowing that this is a second life book, because she was burnt alive and she came back to life and everything like that, and it does have some time traveling scenarios to it. I liked it, but I wasn't so enthusiastic about it. It was appealing to me, obviously, so I gave it a 3 because I enjoyed it. It's hard for me to give books a 2 if I enjoy it. Like, I enjoyed this book, why would I give it a 2? A 2 means I'm intrigued. But a 3, I enjoyed that book. So I gave it a 3, and I wanted to move on to the second book in the series, which is The Blackened Blade. And I kind of got bored. I did. Was it going good? It was, but I kind of got bored, and I pretty much soft DNF'd it. So I paused that book and I went on to another book, Ted and Pregnant by My Billionaire Alpha by Lyra Flux. So another rejected mates book. I don't know what the hell was happening to me, but I was in the mood for rejected mates books all freaking month long. I was really in a mood read situation. Okay, so for this one, she came into an interview with this hunky alpha, and they ended up making out on top of his desk. First time they met, they had this pull to each other, and it was intoxicating, and they could not resist each other. Ended up, kissing, doing things, doing lots and lots of things. So she ended up taking a work trip with him. Tell me why my girl went into heat. On the trip, they ended up not working and spending days and days doing the do. And it just spiraled from there. They had to end up hiding their relationship from their co-workers, because let's remember, he is her boss. She just got hired not even a month ago, and she's already sleeping with him. So anyways, after a while, you understand, she found out that her sister is engaged to be married to someone. Can you guess? Engaged to be married to whom? She showed up at the engagement party to meet her future brother-in-law. Tell me why is her man. And he never tell her, even though his intent was not to marry the arranged, person. First off, he did not know she was his woman's sister. and she didn't know nothing. He lied to her, did not tell her that he was he had an arranged marriage going on situation, and it was just a freaking mess. Bear in mind now, she pregnant already. She just found out she pregnant. Well, she didn't find out she pregnant before. She found out she pregnant on the day of his engagement party after she fainted. Can you tell I was so excited for this book? It was fun. It was fun. It was a cliche, but it was freaking fun. And yeah, I gave it a 3. It was good. Do I recommend? Yes. If you want a nice little cutesy read, nothing like overly dramatic. It doesn't have any fighting involved or anything like that. So it was good. I was giggling and kicking my feet. Yeah. So after giggling and kicking my feet, I went back to book 2, which is the Blackened Bond. The Blackened Blade series. And I went back into it, and I remember why I felt kind of disappointed in the book, because the first book was good. And I expected the second book to be better, because usually people, kind of get their foot into it in the second book. And it was kind of average. It was average, and it wasn't that fun. And I was a bit disappointed in it. It was still a good read, but there was a lot of confusion in the book, and a lot of the storyline kind of, deviated from where it was going. And I was like, okay, I'm still intrigued. It's still going well. Let's see where this go. And it ended up being a 3. A disappointing 3, but a 3 nonetheless. So I continued on, and I was looking to see if there was a third book. Unfortunately, there isn't a third book yet. The third book is coming out sometime in either August or September. I want to say it's September, but don't hold me to that. So it was just a bit disappointing, but I do want to read the third book, so I am looking forward to that. I wanted to read something a little bit more antsy, something with some fighting, academy, some kind of drama. I came across this book on TikTok. The author is G. Bailey. Her book is called We Hunt the Night. Let me check. Yes, so We Hunt the Night by G. Bailey. This book is about our FMC, who is a witch, and she got invited into this academy. Bear in mind, this has also a Cinderella kind of retelling in the beginning of the book, where she has a stepmother that hates her guts, and her sister is at the academy that she just got invited to. Now, at the academy, she finally got there. Almost died in the first 10 minutes of her getting to the academy. Actually, before she even got to the academy, she almost died. And as she got to the stairs, she recognized someone that she remembered from her childhood. Unfortunately, that guy was a complete asshole, and he shoved her, threatened her, and she was just heartbroken because she thought that this person and her had a history. They grew up together, they played together, and she hasn't seen him in years, so she thought that he would remember her. It just wasn't a good encounter for her. So now she and the other recruits had to go into the forest to bond with a shifter, to then come out for the two of them to fight together in a war. So they are presently at war with a different set of people, also witches and shifters as well. And it has not been going great for them. She lost her family due to this war, and she wants to be a part so she could fight and avenge her family. She went into the forest. Bear in mind, bonding could kill you. Okay? She went into the forest, and ding, 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 ding. She was attacked. She was attacked. Well, at least she thought she was being attacked. And she bonded with creatures that have not been bonded to in years. She bonded with not 1, but 4 dragons. Of course, it's a reverse harem. I love me some reverse harem. I think it's my favorite trope. And it's a lot of things in this book is not what it seems. And it was a fun read, and I actually really enjoyed the storyline. Potholes, things that don't quite make sense yet, But I'm hoping that in the other, as the series continues, it does make sense and things are tied up. But I'm really interested in continuing this series. I gave that a 3. I'm really excited to see where the series takes us and if it's gonna wrap everything up that we need. So yeah. And from that, I went on to another book which had not an academy kind of situation, but it was mythical creature, not mythical, yeah, kind of mythical creatures. So like demons and witches kind of situation where she is supposed to serve the light, but she has never fit in with the others that serve the light, and her powers gave her a lot of bad luck. So when she helped people, bad luck comes onto her. So she's giving good luck, but she's getting bad luck in return. And it just made her life a living hell. And in her world, she is destined to be with 4 mates, but she is of an age of 25, I think, and she didn't meet a mate yet. And then she did meet a mate, but he served the darkness because he is a demon. And it was very surprising because she was only supposed to be mated to men that serve the light and of her species. So, especially when their species, his species, and her species usually kill each other, or her species usually kill his species. So it interesting. It was interesting. It was I did give this book a 2. It was interesting, but it wasn't like, okay, do I want to read the second book? It's like a up in the air kind of situation. I feel like I would read the second book if I'm bored or something, but it was just intriguing. That's all. So I don't know if I'm gonna continue reading the series or not, but I gave this book a 2. This book is called Run Riot, and it's a part of the State of Grace series by Colette Rhodes. So after reading that, I kind of got bored once again, and I went back to Rejected Mates. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I picked up hold on. His Curvy Rejected Mates by Kate Wells. I had a good time. A time was had. So with this book now, she and the next in line alpha were messing around for some time, and she was in love with him. He was also in love with her. But, he's a shallow ass mother lover because she is, curvy. And usually she-wolves aren't curvy. They're more lean and fit. And she was treated really badly in the pack, of course, because, she is so different from so many of them and not in a good way in their mind. And when her wolf finally came in and she went into heat right away, he rejected her. Even though he has been messing around with her for quite some time, he rejected her in front of everyone, and she felt like shit. And she decided to leave her pack. And her leaving the pack, he decided to follow her because he felt like shit. He was like, nope. He wants her. He did the wrong thing. He realized his mistake really quickly, and he came after her, went to her house, realized she was not there, realized that she left, and he ran after her. He followed his wolf, and he tugged on the mate bond, and he found her where she was, and he followed her. And he protected her, and he decided to stay wherever the hell she is. He is going to stay because he loves her, and he ain't going nowhere because he realized he was a freaking idiot. But she felt shame and abandoned and all these negative things because of her body and her shape, and it's just not something that you see in a she-wolf. So she obviously felt like he wasn't being genuine, and it took a lot for them to even come together. And one of the reasons why they came together, here as they came together, not ended up together, they came together because she went into heat. And he had to give her some so she could not be in pain throughout her heat. and yeah, of course she ended up pregnant, and the story continued from there, and they went to another pack, and she was helpful in the pack. He was also helpful because he was really good with his hands, and you know, he decided to stay where she is and love on her because he wanted her, and she put him through hell, and he did a lot of groveling, and I really liked the book. See, I really liked the book. Yeah, there was some fighting in there and stuff like that, and so, and it's a continuation of a series that I read the previous 2 months. I think I read those books, and it was fun and it was good, and I give it a 3, and you should read it too. And then I got bored and fell into a book slump, and I decided to reread the Bonds That Tie series. And I got it in the mail, I picked it up, and I read this series last year and I loved it. Loved it. It was one of my very first White Shoes books. And I was like, I need to start buying this series because I enjoy it and I intend to reread it. I don't care if I remember what was happening because I just read it last year. Some books, they're just stuck in your mind. When I first started reading, books were just stuck there. Now I can read a book and just completely forget what the hell the book is about. But I enjoyed this, and I was like, you know what? Let me read something that I don't have to think too much about. And I read all 5 of these, and that's pretty much how I finished my month, by jumping back into a reread. And I gave book 1, which is Broken Bonds, I gave this a 5 because, baby, listen, I did not change my initial rating for these books, even though I feel like all of them is a 5 for me. The entire series is just a 5 across the board. Individual books are like 5 and 4 and stuff like that. Nothing below a 4. And yeah, that's like, I loved this series. I loved this series. And now we're in August, and I'm on the last book, which is Unbroken Bonds. And I know I'm gonna finish it today. I love this series. Did I mention Jabri? You did that. And I have read books from her before, and I do have it on this page, and I have it on my TikTok as well. So check that out. Her writing style is, I enjoy it. And she doesn't repeat things so much that it's distasteful. So she does have some repetition in her work, but it's not every chapter or every 2 lines. It's like she reminds you of something 10 chapters away, which, as I said, it's not irritating, but it's not something that I want to see, because I need to read something now. While I'm reading this book, I don't need you to baby me up or spoon feed me. So something I would like for her not to keep doing. But overall, I love her writing style, and I'm really excited to continue reading her books to see where she takes things, and just over her overall development as an artist. I really like her work. So yeah, and that is my July reading wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Okay, bye.